Well, welcome to day 2 of 12 Days of COP. My name's Andrea Edwards, and today I am delighted to introduce you to someone who I have found incredibly inspiring, and that is Inger-Mette Stenseth. Have I said it right?
You said it right. Inger-Mette Stenseth.
Yeah. You are the co-founder of the World Climate School, and since I've come across your work, you're working fast and furious all the time, traveling a lot and doing amazing work. Would you be willing to share, what you do, why you do it, and what you're hoping to achieve?
Yes, I can do. Let me start with the co-funding first. We started out during COVID, and we met during COVID, the three founders, Rob Dulett and Hans-Jørgen Rasmussen, and one Norwegian, one Rob lives in Brazil, and me living in Norway. So they were just like, let's start, and we started off by having online meetings and online webinars, and especially with Pakistan as a big supporter of the work that we did, and that is actually coming together during this COP as well. So I was I was invited to come to Pakistan and a digital Silk Road into 2019-20. So that started off like Fridays for Pakistan meetings. So we have more than 300 Fridays together with a team on SDGs, Academy of Pakistan, every Friday throughout the COVID period. And for 1 hour to almost 2 hours every Friday. So it was a little bit aligned with Fridays for Future with Greta Thunberg. We took a little bit another stand. Let's get back to school. And let's make that cool. How can we do that with the World Climate School? And then again, we extended my life is connecting me to Zimbabwe. So I'm connected very strongly to Southern Africa. And then we have and then we really engage on the biotic pump, like the Amazon forest. How is that really in a more interesting way? How is the big sky rivers influencing the climate system, the Earth system of the planet? So that's how it's kicked off, and then its organization is formed here in Molde with me, and we have been connected to the Norwegian Climate Network and the Climate Festival here in Norway. And at the time before COVID, we have 25 cities in Norway and a parallel conference to have to look at how climate and anchoring into a law system of Norway called paragraph 112 in the Norwegian constitutions, in our duties to look after our common home. And so we had that kind of backing for a movement in Norway before COVID. So we were in 25 cities on a climate festival anchored in the Norwegian constitution 112. Wow. And if you want to take that a step further, it goes back to Gro Harlem Brundtland in 1992 and back to the work that was done in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 with the first Agenda 21 conference and the Future in Our Hands agenda that has been cultivating its maturity into 2022, 23. Where we really can say that we really have to get our acts together and speed up. So my background is from fashion. I come from fast fashion, so I'm really dedicated to go into fast learning. So how can we do that?
Wow, interesting. There might be a little bit of a rumble. I've got some workers in the background, but I didn't realize you came from fast fashion. So that's a very challenging industry at the moment, right? As far as the amount of waste produced off the back of, companies like Shein. You're thinking, yeah.
Yeah. So no, absolutely. And I've been in fact working a lot with or connection, I would say, to Australia, and both in the fashion industry and the Fashion for Good initiatives, but also I've been connected to Australia on all the fires that you had for the last years and the flooding that you had and I'm connected with artists across borders, social arts, how that can be influenced on social media, how we can have virtual collaboration that is co-led by artists and theater people. So it's a lot going on, I tell you.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and and the artistic side that comes through in the way you communicate and share ideas is something I really instantly resonated with. So, but Pakistan, you were mentioning Pakistan from 2019. So then, of course, last year you would have seen the drastic impact of the glacial lake outburst, which is still attributed in mainstream media across the world as a heavy monsoon rains, and it's like, it's a glacial lake outburst, and there's 33 more at risk in Pakistan. I'm surprised we haven't seen another one go, but we did see a glacial lake outburst in India just a couple of months ago. Did you notice that one? But it must have been interesting working with your Pakistani connections, just as the country was going through such a catastrophe.
I see that, it's to working with the grassroots. Let's be honest. We are an NGO. We are grassroots people, but we are not coming from an activist like a social activist in the streets. We're coming, gets our act together. But be honest, at COP27 in Egypt, Pakistan had a strong voice because of the flooding. But
Yeah,
you need to break out of the circles of climate concerned people and to really engage communities and our leaders, definitely. And that's why we're saying it is for you that we have to open the circles, open to a new way of talk about the ecological movement, and to modernize the ecological movement, and to
yeah,
get into mainstream. And that's climate education should be mainstream. That's my strongest voice for COP28. Let's go mainstream with climate education. That gets into everyone. Let's go back to school. That's
yeah,
the mantra. Let's go back to school. You know, I've been also working with India, and for the last year, I've been connecting with Sunita Gandhi in India, and we've been working with Devi Sanstan, the Digital Education Vision International, and we're working on out of the city of Lucknow with a family having the City Montessori School as the biggest school on the planet with over 60,000 pupils. But with Sunita Gandhi, we're saying let's make it even faster, and if we can have an earthquake, or to revolutionize or to turn around the way we teach children, how that can affect in the way we can speed learn in this
yeah,
urgency. And that's my point here. If you're having after COVID, especially the a girl child is not in school because poorest people didn't go to school. They didn't have the tech to sit on Zoom and Google Educate or whatever kind of tech to connect to schools. So the consequences of COVID is actually that increase of 10 years old children not being able to read or know mathematics is increased. So as by numbers by World Bank and UNESCO is saying that more than 250 million children at the age of 10 is not able to read. And you can imagine what that consequence it is in 10 years. It's going to multiply, you know?
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah,
so the methodology we call this is called Accelerate Learning for All. So that is foundational literacy and numeracy. Like, let's learn math and to read as fast as we can, and we can do it in 45 days. So we turn around the classroom. The teacher, the children is not the classroom is not children led. It's children teach. They teach each other fast. So you have bigger classes, and they learn in pairs, and they learn in pairs. And we have a 45 days. We have pilot schools with Sunita Gandhi. We Harvard it's doing research on it, so you can see that the pilot school promotes the school A and school B, and one is doing literacy and one is doing mathematics, and you can test it towards the methodologies test, and that is literacy, foundational literacy, and then we have climate literacy or green school or environmental concerned citizens. So you have this thing about creativity, critical thinking, citizenship in your community, project engagement in your community, and how we can really accelerate the skills of collaboration, creative collaboration. How do we do that?
Yeah. Amazing, amazing, and huge numbers. So thank you for that amazing contribution to humanity, to you and your co-founders. So It's For You is the antidote to COP. That's how David and Richard speak about it. So what does the whole It's For You campaign mean to you, and what are you hoping to see over the coming weeks as far as people participating in this campaign?
Yes, yes, yes. You know, It's For You. It's not an antidote to COP, like David and Richard will say. I'm slightly more positive to COP. I
Yeah.
think it's tremendously important event,
Mm.
extremely important event. It's the biggest event on climate on the planet as such. So, and no doubt about it. And my experience, COP, is that I was in Paris for COP 21. So we've been working on the fashion industry since then. And I know that I could see the Tour Eiffel with the blue and the green lights. I could understood the blue zone and the political stage that the negotiation is going on, how to evolve, how to get together or act together on a national and governmental structure. It's a huge job. It's not easy.
No.
And then you have the green zone, which is the most amazing zone because it's like all the NGOs and it's like a festival and a marketplace and people are working and celebrating, fighting.
Mm.
The energy is there to fight for something. But what we see, and also then my experience for Glasgow at COP 26, I was there. So, and then I worked with Erasmus Plus and youth projects. So we had like a project called C6 that we presented, and it's about creative collaborative culture to combat climate change. And we have more than 6 youth organizations in Europe that was allocating our energy to say that ideas do really matter. And that is a quote from Adam Smith. You know, what is the wealth and the health of our nations, and in the new era of human cooperation and concern about the planet. So the wealth of nation. How do we think economics into the circles of NGOs, and how do we can create a livelihood that is local in local projects. And that's where I see that COP 28 is also coming forward, that the legacy of COP 26 is coming with the education. Climate education is important. It was repeated at the Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt in 27, with also the emphasis of Pakistan had a political will to say we have to get the people suffering on the front line of climate change. We have to find a way to pay or to bring economics to the crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that comes again out for the legacy of climate education for COP 28 and action on the ground, in where
Mm.
people live. And my biggest concern and biggest awakening was actually Katrina in New Orleans area. That situation is not solved yet. People suffer even from Katrina are still in the streets. So on the forefront of climate change and the wild winds of nature and the fires and the floods and the storms and the heat waves, we can't stop that as humans. We have to adapt. And that's where I really agree with Richard and David, is that dignity first now.
Yeah.
The dignity, how can we work together, and how can we really engage people outside the circles of climate activists or climate concerned citizens or net zero consultants selling us carbon credits? How can we really engage and get voices to localized projects?
Yeah.
And that is the reason why the tremendous effort that David and Richard has done to the partnership with the youth in Nairobi and the Eastern African campuses and universities network, network in more than 8 countries and 36 universities and 10 colleges. That's where we really can see that we're amplifying. It is for you. It is for everyone on the planet. And for COP28, I'm back in Norway. My priorities is really to say, let us get funding to youngsters from the front lines, from Nairobi, from Zimbabwe, from Kenya, Uganda, Egypt. Let them speak up. They are the leaders, you know. When you're 20,
Yeah.
25, you don't see yourself as a youth. You're actually leading your life, you know. They are the leaders.
Yeah.
So
That the whole reparations thing, it's so, because I'm sitting in Thailand and the risk is in front of my face every single day. So the extreme heat waves that are going to come through next hot season, so from February onwards, and we saw how bad it was like this year. India suffered terribly, but next year it's going to be hotter, and people live in tin shacks. And what the northern countries in particular, the wealthy countries in particular, need to understand, if we don't invest in helping people stay where they are and doing what we need to do, those people are going to be on the move, and then we're going to have more societal breakdown than we're seeing at the moment. So we've got to get ready. We've got to prepare homes for people so they can move to based on where we think the best chances are. But we've got to take care of the people and give them the financing to just do simple things like painting roofs white, or just education, you know, on what they need to do to get them homes prepared, cooling centres for communities that are off the grid, because the grids are going to fall over because they're all above ground, you know. But the most important thing is it benefits everyone if we do everything we can to just let people stay where they are, because people don't want to move, you know. And
No, they don't. So, but you know, I can say that I know Thailand a bit, and not much, but I've been in India twice this fall, and I'm working with different. No, it's not true. I've been in India last month, and I've been to the biggest school on the planet, inviting more than 100 leaders of justice and governments coming to the biggest school on the planet to look after 2.5 children on the planet and generations to come. So it's a lot about law and enforcement of holding the leaders accountable in one way or another. So, but then again, you know, I've been to New Delhi in the heat waves this fall. I've seen the, you know, I had a very strong reaction to my eyes.
the haze is terrible, right? It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's gotten worse and worse and worse. So if you go there, the last one was one of the worst. In Singapore, they get the haze from the fires in Indonesia.
Yeah.
In February, like this year, we got the haze from the northern Thailand that came down south, and it hurts your throat. You're always itchy. Your eyes sting. The worse it gets, it's terrible.
So that is that's a tough one, and it is. I'm just moving a bit. I don't because I was thinking I wanted to look to you, but if I look like this, it has to look like we're talking together. So let me get back to India, but then again, talking about to understand the difference between the linear economy and the circular economy. Nature do not have waste, and in the waste problem of our consumption, and the plastic waste, especially because we can see it like it's popping more up. But there is no the waste management system in culture of the crowd is also crashing. So all the rivers and the landfills and the streets, it gets overwhelming. People are not able to cope with it, especially in areas where you're trying to cope from one day to another. You can't cope with all the rubbish and the sewage system that is cramped, and then the floods comes and the rain comes, and it's overwhelming. It's too much for people to handle in many ways, and that's why we really have to come together and assist. talking with youngsters in India in the city Lucknow, they like to be environmentalists and say, "Oh, let's clean the river," and then they find layers of plastic and rubbish, mud, layers, 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 mud. And it's impossible. You have to have big tools to clean up.
Yeah.
So, and
Oh,
that is
it's
investments.
it's shocking. It's shocking. The individual contribution by each Indian citizen is significantly lower than the Western countries, especially Americans. But I do beach cleanups all the time, and people are blaming Asia for a lot of the problem with the waste. But so many countries in Asia are accepting waste from wealthier countries. Australia's just started again because they failed on one of their big recycling initiatives, so they're importing their waste into Asia again. There is no infrastructure here apart from places like Singapore. There's no infrastructure here to deal with it. So if they want to ship their waste, build the plants that need to be built to deal with the waste. It's just we need global cooperation on that because it doesn't stay here. It goes everywhere, right? So
to climate education, let's talk about the weather. It's more extremes.
Yeah.
So right now here in Norway, we have, it will probably turn up to 20 minus this weekend in the highlands or up in the mountains inland. But then again, in next week, it can be 3+.
Yeah.
Right? And then that fluctuations from the extremes in the cold weather pattern is also scared. Then the avalanche from the mountains will come, and that takes big trees with it that has been growing in the summer and are strong but heavy when it comes. It's full of snow, and the mild weather the ice cold winter turns into a rainy spring. So and these extremes, and then the heat waves are just like scaring all the clouds away. So it goes away. There's no clouds for years. That's the drought in Africa. It's for years.
Yeah.
The rain didn't come.
And when it does come, it comes in huge floods. There's
Yeah.
one in the region of Africa today. I mean, we've got massive complex problems, but my impression of It's For You is it's about sort of remembering what we're fighting for and being positive. And so what's your focus going to be? Obviously the importance of education, but how are you going to stay grounded in your hope for the future?
I've been talking with my artistic friends, so to really get from activism into the action, how we can ground us in our own communities. So it's a lot about community-based learning and development, and to engage in local communities where you have circles of trust that is working on food security and in creative ways. Not because it's food security, but it's really beautiful and fun. I learned from the slow food movement from Italy, bring new recipes, improvise, work with seaweed. It's more people going off the meat, but still we are in Norway. We have fish, and the reindeer is here, or the deers are here. There is like a hunting culture in our region still, and but to stay grounded in the local communities. And we say that communities that learn together and networks that learn together, and that's where we're using the disciplines of new mastery, personal mastery, and what's the shared vision that we can create together. How do we bring creativity and understand the mental models that we have in our heads, so we can really look at what we can do locally to make small projects be good. And this is the same message that I had with the It's For You circles when we interviewed young women that's traveling to COP. They're really, they're It's For You. They're traveling on behalf of their community to COP to say, we have 500 women here in Kenya as small farmers. We like to have a livelihood. We will like to plant trees, but we need to stop cutting down trees, because that's the only way we can fuel our kitchen. So my message is a lot that it's a lot of things that's going on in the kitchen and in the homes and the way we live and the lifestyle. And coming from the fashion industry, it's also saying that the fashion industry is also my hope for COP28, by the way. Uh, it's a lot of redoing and rethinking. But as Coco Chanel said, fashion is not one dress. It's the way we think, the way we style, and the way we live our lives. So what's happening in the streets and happening in your city, and that's where really change is happening on a global scale. And that's my optimistic view on the self-organizing strategies of NGOs and the grassroots. And also, in addition to that, you have all the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, that you can see that local governments, local communities, city councils are using as a framework for thinking. But in addition to that, you have the inner development goals, and that is the inner transformation. So you kind of take a stake and a hold on the global problem of climate change. And sometimes I'm thinking, it is for you. Please come and own the problems and the complexity of our challenges together with us, because we are all in the same boat, as to use a cliche. We're in it together, And that's why I think it's, Andrea, to speak with you, Australian living in Thailand, is of importance, and the way you are skilled in interviewing people and to get the flavor out of it is for you. I'm doing it for you as a journalist. How can journalists be able to communicate this complexity without being black and white solutions? It's really the all colors and all shades of green and purple and yellow and orange. We need all colors on the planet to really get this together.
Totally agree. Totally. Yeah, it's so complex, and there's so much nuance, and so much of the conversation is the black and white, and you sit in the middle in this grey space, and you're like, yep, no, you've got a point, everyone's got a point. Mm-hmm. So where do we find that compromise, and where do we just make a start? And I think everyone individually just coming together, making a start, doing their thing, whatever it is, not in fear. But,
and I think what I like to say at the end, we have a lot of streams in the It's For You, and we like to say that it's like knitting a textile, a fabric, for example. What everybody's doing. It is like it's as big as an elephant. They were complaining about the trunk and the toe of an elephant. But it's the same big animal we're trying to solve. Or create, we're trying to create something. That's why the knitting of a fiber or weaving a textile comes as a metaphor that's useful. So it's probably addressed to an elephant. Terrible. It's an impossible problem. Nobody's done that. But anyway, one of the threads of communication is, of course, dignity and education. But the other one is, it's called Book of Trees.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, and if you and that is like collecting 1 million stories of trees and how you have a personal relationship to a tree or a tree in a forest, and that is a story that everyone can connect to, and it connects the Amazon together with Australia, together with Thailand, Norway, Africa. It's the story of trees, and I like to say that if we can do people engaged in saying it is for you, and they put a picture of them, a story about the tree, and the trees are cleaning the air for us, so it's about clean air and oxygen, and so this story for It's For You, that everyone can think about the tree or the ecosystem that they're really in love with, like a garden and a forest close to their home, and they take a picture and say, it is for you, and it's for humanity and the generations to come, that it is for you. And that is like, it comes forward as a gifting economy to future generation, and that's what I love the most with It's For You.
Yeah, right.
And I think I think even if the world leaders of today can say, yes, it's for you, and even if they say it to the partner or to the future generation or the future grandchildren or the neighbor's grandchildren, if they don't have their own children, it's like it is for you, it's for the future and for the planet.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just finish up with, if people are looking to get involved, I've got the sign up link here. So it's bit.ly, sign up to It's For You. So 2 number 4 number, but I'll put it in the show notes as well. But how can everyone get involved?
How they can get involved? You're asking me how they can get involved, right? Okay. What is extremely interesting these days with It's For You is that we're getting requests from everywhere, and we have to make it accessible for people to feel that they can do it without getting instructed to do something, but it comes from an internal desire to do something. So the biggest way to join us is actually to hashtag us in your actions, local action. It's for you. The other way we are really going to streamline the 12 days of COP. So we're having multiple outreach and invitations to join us in social engagement, like on Zoom and conversations. And we will be multiplied to more than 10 platforms at the same time. And the interest we have from the youth of Kenya and youngsters also going to COP28 is that we connect back into COP. So we're getting the news into our daily 12 days of engagement. This was a little bit difficult right there. Let me see. Will help me, Andrea? How can I express this as better and more clear?
No, you're doing great. I think using the hashtag It's For You with the number 4, I think is great. There's the Facebook page. Is it called It's For You?
Yeah. The face. You connect to us easily on the Facebook page and on social media. It is For You.
Yeah.
And then
everything's there. Everything's there.
It's there. And of course, the World Climate School is also get in touch with me directly as well, and get in touch with your involvement in Kenya and in Zimbabwe and Pakistan, in Thailand, in India, in Sri Lanka, in Norway, Europe in general, in the US, in Brazil, in Peru. It is for you. I love the work that we're doing in Peru is also very beautiful. So we are connecting the world in many ways.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, so it's a place for inspiration. It's a place for ideas. It's a place where people are going to talk about what's beautiful in the world, And I think while we're fighting a hard battle, so I've got that drilling. I'm sure you can hear it. How about I mute and you talk? But yeah, we're fighting a hard battle. It's a complicated battle, but it's about really being present. I feel that it's about being present and engaging with people, more deeply and remembering what life's really about, right? Would you agree? The beauty.
Absolutely, it is. It's for you. It's to really take care of what we have, and to really to care for that's close to us, to care for what we love, and to help each other, and that's also the beautiful logo of It's For You. It's the 2 people holding hands with the third one, or is one person inviting 2 others to join, and this is a little bit like come, let's do it together, and to get action on the ground together. You have more fun when you come together, when you engaged in learning and you engage in the climate battle. It gets also less as a battle. It gets more into having fun. Gardening is fun. Food cultivation is fun. It's fun to eat while it's fun to come together. And the way we say that on the bigger scale, help each other on the other side of the planet. We're living in a technological renaissance of connecting people on the ground together, that's going fast. And that's why we're learning fast as well. And it's for you. And so I'm saying, yeah, join us. Yeah.
Join us. And we can't do this if we don't do it together. There's no possible path to success if we keep separate. And I'm sitting in the global south, and I'm fighting for the people in this part of the world, because some of the most magnificent human beings you'll ever meet in your life live in this part of the world, and they're at huge risk. Everyone is, but they are. So I'm fighting for them. So Inger-Mette, thank you. It's so nice to finally be able to really talk to you.
Yes.
And I really admire the work that you do, and follow Inger-Mette on LinkedIn, and come and join. It's for you.
It's for you.
All right.
It's for you.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Uncommon courage.